They took 9-year-old Lily from her own yard and left her by the side of a highway under the guise of HOA rules. HOA President Charles Redford thought he could play police, right up until a terrified child was abandoned in the desert. But her father, Jason Keller, a former FEMA systems engineer, had the skills, the determination, and the evidence to turn the tables. And when justice hit back, it hit hard. Jason had lived in the same quiet neighborhood of Windridge Hollow, just outside Colorado Springs, for over a decade. He was the type of man who fixed his own plumbing, waved to every neighbor, and took meticulous care of his home. Logical, methodical, the kind of man who backed up his home security footage monthly and never forgot to lock a door. That night, everything changed with one horrifying realization. I can't find my daughter. Lily had asked to play outside after dinner, a few minutes on the swing before homework. Jason agreed. The sun was still up. Nothing out of the ordinary. She wore her favorite light blue pajamas and smelled faintly of bubble bath. Her long hair was pulled into a loose ponytail. Jason was rinsing dishes when he noticed the sudden silence. No creak of the swing. No gigas. Just stillness. He stepped outside. The swing was swaying slightly, like someone had jumped off in a hurry. Lily. No answer. He circled the house. Checked the front yard. The garage. Called her name again. Pulled out his phone, straight to voicemail. His heart thudded. He sprinted to his office, flicked on the monitor linked to the backyard security cameras. Black screen. The cable had been cleanly cut. Not frayed, not torn. Just gone. Someone had disabled it. Someone had taken her. He pounded on neighbors' doors. Most hadn't seen anything. A woman across the street muttered something vague about the HOA always patrolling, but didn't elaborate. At 10:17 p.m., Jason called the police. A missing child report was filed. Officers arrived, asking if Lily had run away. Jason barked, "She's 9. She won't even cross the street without me." The search expanded. 8K-9 unit was deployed, but there were no footprints. No tire marks. No clues. 11 agonizing hours later, Jason's phone rang. A woman's voice, quiet and unsure. "Mr. Keller? My name is Diane. I work at a shelter near Flagstaff. I think we have your daughter." Jason sank into a chair, barely breathing. She was found by the highway, barefoot, in pajamas, bruised. She kept saying she had to find her dad. Said she was taken from her home by people from the HOA. Jason couldn't comprehend it. The HOA? A board of neighbors obsessed with lawn regulations? It couldn't be, but it was. He drove to Arizona like a man possessed. When he reached the shelter, he didn't walk, he ran. And when he saw Lily, small, silent, face streaked with tears, his knees gave out. "Daddy," she whispered, "I told that lady from the HOA you weren't home. She said if there's no adult, I couldn't stay. So they took me. And when I cried, they got mad, said I was being dramatic. Then they told me to get out." She curled into herself like she was bracing for punishment. Jason wrapped the blanket tighter around her and whispered, "You're safe now. No one will ever touch you again." But inside, he was already changing. This wasn't rule enforcement. It was a kidnapping, wrapped in khakis and HOA letterhead. Jason had spent years designing systems to detect weaknesses and threats. Now, the threat had a name, Charles Redford. The HOA had sent someone for a welfare check. No police. No CPS. Just clipboard warriors deciding they had authority. When Lily answered the door alone, they deemed it a violation. So they took her. Jason made 3 calls. First, a civil rights attorney. Second, a journalist in Colorado Springs who had once exposed HOA corruption. Third, a national parenting blog that turned injustice into firestorms. Then he drove home. The chalk drawings on his driveway had been washed away, the lawn uncut. The HOA had tried to erase their tracks. But Jason had something they didn't know about, a backup surveillance system. Offline, hidden, still recording. For 48 hours, he locked himself in his office, scrubbing footage, enhancing frames, piecing together every second. He found it, a woman in an HOA jacket opening the side gate. No knock, no warning, followed by Charles Redford. Then Lily, She followed them, hesitated, was led into a gray van. No plates in the front, but Jason enhanced the rear. Ran it through an old FEMA database. Got a name, then another, then addresses. He marched into the HOA office 2 days later, dropped a flash drive on the front desk. That, he said, is a copy of the footage showing your board members unlawfully removing my child from my home and transporting her across state lines. Silence. He pointed at Charles. I've sent this to the sheriff, the DEA, and federal authorities. By tomorrow, your faces will be on every screen in the country. Charles stammered something about a misunderstanding. Jason slammed his palms on the table. She had cactus thorns in her knees. You didn't protect her. You kidnapped her. The news broke that night. Surveillance footage. Commentary. Hashtags. Hashtag Justice for Lily. Hashtag HOA kidnapping. Hashtag she was 9. By morning, the FBI had opened a federal investigation. The HOA board members began to vanish. Charles disappeared first. Home empty. Phone off. Another, Stephen Ward, was caught in New Mexico trying to board a charter flight with $15,000 in cash. Marcia Dugan, the third, hid at a ranch in Utah. Caught after a neighbor recognized her. And then Charles turned himself in. Walked into the sheriff's office at dawn, eyes red, hands up. I thought she was in danger, he mumbled. The deputy didn't blink. You thought you had the right to take someone's child. The courtroom was packed during the preliminary hearing. Jason held Lily's hand. She whispered he's scared, like I was. Jason nodded. Now he knows what alone feels like. The trial moved swiftly. The evidence was damning. GPS data, video footage, testimony. The three pled guilty in exchange for reduced sentences. Judge Amelia Grant delivered the final blow. You acted as self-appointed police, she said. Removed a child without consent. Abandoned her. You weaponized neighborhood authority. You do not belong in civil society. Charles got 12 years. Stephen and Marcia, 8 each, plus probation and mandatory rehabilitation programs. No celebration. Just relief. Just silence. Lily began healing slowly. She stayed inside for weeks. Then one day, she stepped into the backyard barefoot, holding her purple blanket, sat on the grass, closed her eyes, lifted her face to the sun. She was reclaiming it. 2 weeks later, Jason received a letter from Congress, an invitation to testify at a federal hearing on HOA reform. He stepped outside. Lily was drawing with chalk again. A bright red heart. Stars. Stick figures. It's for everyone, she said. Even people who messed up. He crouched beside her. They want me to help write new rules. She smiled. You should. For other kids. He nodded. We're going to make this world safer, sweetheart. I promise. She squeezed his hand once. Let go. And that was enough.